Last night, while you were lying awake staring at the ceiling, something was happening inside your body that most doctors never talk about. Your cortisol levels were spiking. Your nervous system was still firing as if it was 2 in the afternoon. And a part of your brain called the hypothalamus, the region responsible for telling your body when to shut down and rest, was receiving confused, contradictory signals. You weren't just failing to sleep. Your body had lost the ability to recognize that it was even time to try. And here is the part that may surprise you most. One of the oldest, most powerful natural tools for restoring that signal has been sitting in your kitchen this entire time. It is not a pill. It is not a powder. It is not an expensive supplement. It is a single clove of garlic. And tonight, I am going to show you exactly how to use it. My name is Dr. Reed Cross, and for over 2 decades I have worked at the crossroads of integrative medicine and sleep science. I have seen patients spend thousands of dollars on sleep clinics, prescription medications, and high-tech devices, and still wake up exhausted every single morning. And I have also seen those same patients transform their nights by returning to something deeply simple and deeply ancient. Today, we are going to talk about garlic, and specifically about why placing it under your pillow at night may be one of the most quietly powerful sleep interventions available to any person over the age of 50. Before we go any further, I want to share something with you. A landmark study published in January 2025 in the peer-reviewed journal Functional Foods in Health and Disease conducted a randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled trial, the gold standard of medical research, on a compound found in garlic called S-allyl L-cysteine, or SAC. The researchers followed 44 healthy adult participants over 12 weeks. The group that received SAC-enriched garlic extract showed statistically significant improvements in their ability to fall asleep, stay asleep through the night, and wake feeling refreshed in the morning. The placebo group showed none of these changes. The study's conclusion was striking in its clarity. SAC-enriched garlic extract, quote, relieves difficulties associated with initiating and maintaining sleep. This is not folklore. This is peer-reviewed science published in 2025, and it confirms what traditional healers in Eastern Europe, Central Asia, and across the Mediterranean world have known for centuries. Now, I know what some of you are thinking right now. You are thinking, garlic? Under my pillow? That sounds strange, maybe even a little ridiculous. But I want you to stay with me, because I promise you, by the end of this video, what sounds strange right now will make complete scientific sense. And for those of you who are already reaching for the skip button, please don't. Because the most critical piece of information in this entire video, the one detail that determines whether this works or whether it doesn't, comes at the very end. If you skip ahead, you will miss it. I have seen people try this method and fail simply because they overlooked one step. So stay with me all the way through. And if you are someone who believes in finding natural, drug-free solutions for your health and for your rest, someone who is tired of being handed a prescription every time you walk into a doctor's office, then I invite you to subscribe to this channel right now and ring the notification bell. Every week, I bring you methods rooted in both traditional wisdom and modern science, designed for people who want to take their health back into their own hands. Now let's talk about what is actually happening inside your body when sleep becomes difficult, because understanding the problem is the first step to solving it. After the age of 50, and especially after 60, a series of quiet physiological shifts begin to undermine the architecture of your sleep. Your body produces less melatonin, the hormone that signals the transition from wakefulness into deep rest. Your core body temperature regulation becomes less efficient, meaning the natural cooling that should happen as you drift off is slower and less reliable. Your autonomic nervous system, the system that governs whether you are in a state of alert arousal or calm restoration, becomes biased toward its sympathetic branch, which is the fight-or-flight side. This means your body is more likely to stay in a low-grade state of readiness even when there is nothing to be ready for. The result is a kind of chronic, invisible tension that makes deep, restorative sleep feel just out of reach, no matter how tired you are. This is why so many people over 50 describe the same experience. They are exhausted, they go to bed at a reasonable hour, and yet they lie awake for an hour, or wake at 3 in the morning with their heart lightly racing and their mind turning over worries they cannot stop. This is not a failure of discipline or routine. This is biology. And this is precisely where garlic enters the picture, in a way that most people have never considered. Garlic, Allium sativum, is one of the most chemically complex foods on the planet. When a raw garlic clove is crushed, bruised, or cut, an enzyme called alliinase is activated. This enzyme converts a compound called alliin into allicin, the sulfur-containing molecule responsible for garlic's sharp, distinctive aroma. But allicin is just the beginning. As garlic ages or is processed, allicin breaks down into a family of related compounds, including ajoine, diallyl disulfide, and the compound we discussed from that 2025 study, S-allyl L-cysteine, or SAC. Each of these compounds has its own unique biological activity, and together they create an effect on the nervous system, the cardiovascular system, and the brain that is, frankly, remarkable for something you can buy at any grocery store for less than $1. Here is what the science shows us. SAC has been demonstrated to regulate the autonomic nervous system, specifically promoting what researchers call parasympathetic dominance. In plain language, that is the rest and digest state, the opposite of fight or flight. When your parasympathetic nervous system takes over in the evening, your heart rate slows, your blood pressure drops, your muscles release tension you didn't even know they were holding, and your brain begins the hormonal cascade that leads towards sleep. SAC appears to support this shift directly, which explains the findings of that 2025 double-blind trial. The participants didn't just fall asleep faster. They reported waking less frequently during the night and feeling more restored in the morning, which tells us that the deeper architecture of their sleep, the slow-wave sleep and REM sleep that perform the real restorative work, was also improved. Additionally, allicin and its derivatives have been shown to reduce systemic inflammation. This matters enormously for sleep. Chronic low-grade inflammation, the kind that is invisible on the outside but measurable in the blood, disrupts sleep architecture in a way that researchers have only recently begun to fully understand. Inflammatory cytokines, small signaling proteins released during inflammation, have been shown to fragment sleep, suppress slow-wave deep sleep, and reduce the efficiency of REM cycles. When you reduce that background inflammation, sleep becomes more continuous, more complete, and more restorative. Garlic's antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties work through the night to quietly lower that inflammatory noise, and the result is that your body can finally access the deeper stages of sleep it has been missing. There is one more mechanism I want to highlight before we get to the 3 methods. Garlic contains meaningful amounts of vitamin B6, a nutrient that plays a direct role in the synthesis of serotonin, and through serotonin, the production of melatonin. You may already know that melatonin is the hormone most closely associated with sleep onset. What fewer people know is that melatonin is not produced in a vacuum. It requires serotonin as a precursor, and serotonin synthesis requires vitamin B6 as a cofactor. Many people over 60 are quietly deficient in B6 without ever knowing it, and this deficiency creates a subtle but real impairment in their body's ability to produce enough melatonin to initiate and sustain deep sleep. When you introduce garlic into your nightly routine, whether through diet, through a warm preparation, or through the proximity method we will discuss shortly, you are supporting this entire hormonal chain from the ground up. Now, the 3 methods. I am going to take you through them in order, from the most gentle to the most comprehensive. Each one works through a slightly different mechanism. You do not need to use all 3. What I want you to do is listen carefully, understand the reasoning behind each one, and then choose the method, or combination of methods, that fits your lifestyle and your situation. The first method is the one that gives this video its name, and the one that most people initially find surprising. It is also, for reasons I am about to explain, the one that tends to produce the fastest results. This is the garlic pillow method, the practice of placing 1 or 2 lightly crushed fresh garlic cloves wrapped in a thin, breathable cloth beneath your pillow before you sleep. The practice has roots in Eastern European folk tradition, Central Asian herbal medicine, and parts of the Mediterranean world. For generations, grandmothers in Poland, Bulgaria, and across the Caucasus region prepared a small cloth pouch of garlic for restless sleepers in their families. And now we understand why it works. When a garlic clove is lightly crushed, not minced, not pulverized, just gently pressed to release its compounds, it begins slowly emitting volatile sulfur compounds into the immediate air around it. These compounds, particularly allicin and diallyl disulfide, are highly volatile, meaning they evaporate easily at room temperature and are readily inhaled. As you breathe during sleep, these molecules enter your nasal passages and are absorbed into the bloodstream via the respiratory mucosa. From there, they exert their effects systemically, supporting parasympathetic nervous system activity, reducing cortisol levels, and calming the neurological hyperarousal that keeps so many older adults from reaching deep sleep. There is another effect that is perhaps less expected. The sulfur compounds in garlic have a mild decongestant action on the nasal passages. Many older adults experience a slight chronic stuffiness at night. Not enough to be called a cold, but enough to create subtle mouth breathing, reduced oxygen saturation during sleep, and increased likelihood of waking. When garlic's aromatic compounds are gently present in the air around your nose and mouth during sleep, they help keep the nasal passages open. Breathing becomes slower, deeper, and more efficient. And because the brain's transition into deep sleep is closely tied to respiratory rhythm, this improvement in breathing alone can meaningfully deepen the quality of your rest. To prepare this method correctly, choose fresh organic garlic. Organic matters here because you want the highest possible concentration of allicin. Take 1 or 2 cloves and peel them carefully. Then, using the flat side of a knife or the heel of your palm, press the clove gently, enough to crack it slightly and release the aroma, but not to crush it completely into paste. You should see a slight shine on the surface where the cell walls have been broken. Wrap the clove loosely in a small square of natural cotton or cheesecloth. Do not use synthetic fabric, which can trap the volatile compounds rather than allowing them to diffuse into the air. Tuck this small bundle beneath your pillow, not directly under your face, but within about 12 inches of where your head rests. Replace it with a fresh clove every 2 to 3 nights, as the volatile compounds diminish over time. Most people notice a difference in how quickly they fall asleep within the first 3 nights. By the end of the first week, many report sleeping through the night for the first time in months or years. The second method works through an entirely different pathway, and it is ideal for people who have cold hands and feet at night, poor circulation, or a tendency to wake in the early hours with a racing or restless feeling in the legs. This is the garlic and warm water foot soak. In traditional medicine systems, from China to India to the Ottoman world, the feet were understood as a kind of second heart, a network of circulatory endpoints connected to virtually every major organ system through pathways of blood flow and nerve activity. The sole of each foot contains an extraordinary density of nerve endings and capillaries. When circulation in the feet is poor, the heart works harder to compensate, and the nervous system remains in a mild state of exertion. This is one reason so many older adults feel physically tired but mentally unable to rest. Their body is working when it should be winding down. Soaking the feet in warm, garlic-infused water before bed addresses this directly. The warmth dilates the capillaries in the feet and lower legs, encouraging blood to move freely through the peripheral circulation and reducing the load on the heart. Simultaneously, allicin from the garlic is absorbed transdermally through the skin and enters the local circulation, where it further promotes vasodilation, reduces vascular stiffness, and begins its calming effect on the peripheral nervous system. The combination of heat and allicin creates a powerful relaxation signal that moves upward through the body. Legs release tension, lower back softens, chest loosens, and the whole system begins to quiet. To prepare this soak, take 3 to 4 large cloves of fresh garlic and crush them firmly. Here, more thorough crushing is appropriate, as you want maximum allicin release into the water. Bring about 2 liters of water to a gentle boil, then add the crushed garlic and reduce to a simmer for 5 minutes. Pour the water into a basin and allow it to cool to a safe, comfortable temperature. Warm enough to feel therapeutic, but never so hot that it risks burning the skin. A good guideline is between 100 and 110 degrees Fahrenheit. You may add a teaspoon of sea salt, which enhances the absorption of garlic compounds through the skin and provides its own mild relaxation benefit. Soak your feet for 20 minutes. While soaking, use your fingertips or thumbs to gently massage the arch of each foot, the heel, and the base of each toe. These areas correspond in traditional medicine to the organs of relaxation: the kidneys, the heart, the diaphragm. After 20 minutes, dry your feet thoroughly, especially between the toes, and put on a pair of light cotton socks. The socks hold warmth in the feet through the night and help sustain the relaxation response into the early hours of sleep. A word of caution: people with open wounds on the feet, uncontrolled diabetes, or severe peripheral vascular disease should consult their physician before using this method. And do not use this soak if you have a fever or have consumed alcohol in the past few hours. The third method is the one I consider the most complete, because it works on every level simultaneously: the inflammatory level, the hormonal level, the neurological level, and the digestive level. This is the garlic, raw honey, and warm milk preparation, taken approximately 1 hour before bed. Each ingredient in this combination has a distinct and complementary role. The garlic, specifically the SAC and allicin it contains, supports the autonomic nervous system, reduces systemic inflammation, and contributes to the B6-mediated serotonin and melatonin pathway. Raw honey contains a naturally occurring compound called glucose oxidase, which stabilizes blood sugar through the night. This is more important than most people realize. One of the most common causes of nighttime waking in adults over 50 is a subtle drop in blood glucose in the early morning hours, which triggers a stress response and pulls the person out of deep sleep. Raw honey, unlike refined sugar, releases its glucose slowly and steadily, preventing this nocturnal hypoglycemic dip. Raw honey also contains small amounts of tryptophan and supports the same serotonin-melatonin hormonal chain that garlic's B6 activates. And warm milk, particularly whole milk, contains casein proteins that digest slowly through the night, providing a sustained source of the amino acid tryptophan. Tryptophan is the direct precursor to serotonin. By combining warm milk with raw honey and garlic, you are essentially constructing the biological raw materials for your brain's sleep-inducing neurochemistry and delivering them together in a single warm cup. To prepare this, warm 1 cup of whole milk gently on the stove. Do not boil it, as high heat degrades some of its beneficial proteins. While the milk is warming, crush 1 small clove of fresh garlic and allow it to sit for 10 minutes. This resting period is important. It allows the alliinase enzyme to fully complete the conversion of alliin to allicin. Then add the crushed garlic to a small cup of warm water, steep for 3 minutes, and strain the liquid. Add this garlic-infused liquid to your warmed milk, then stir in 1 tablespoon of raw honey. added after the milk is off the heat, as high heat destroys the beneficial enzymes in raw honey. Drink this preparation slowly and mindfully, sitting in a quiet place away from screens and bright light, approximately 1 hour before your intended sleep time. Many people find that within 4 or 5 nights of consistent use, they fall asleep more quickly, sleep more continuously, and wake feeling a quality of rest they had not experienced in years. If you have a dairy intolerance, you may substitute unsweetened oat milk or almond milk. Both will carry the tryptophan-supporting and warming effect, though the protein content will be lower. If you have acid reflux, reduce the garlic quantity to half a clove and observe whether your symptoms change. Now, across all 3 methods, there are a few principles that apply universally. First, consistency matters more than intensity. Garlic's compounds are not sedatives. They do not knock you out on the first night. They work by gradually rebalancing your nervous system, your inflammation levels, and your hormonal rhythms. Give any method you choose a minimum of 7 nights before assessing whether it is working. Second, the quality of the garlic you use makes a significant difference. Fresh, organic garlic that is firm and aromatic will contain meaningfully higher concentrations of allicin than old, soft, or pre-minced garlic from a jar. Third, these methods work best when paired with basic sleep hygiene. Consistent sleep and wake times, a cool and dark bedroom, and the elimination of screen light in the hour before bed. Garlic can restore the biological conditions for deep sleep, but it cannot overcome a bedroom full of blue light and a mind scrolling through the events of the day. I also want to be transparent with you about what garlic cannot do. It is not a treatment for obstructive sleep apnea, for restless legs syndrome with a neurological cause, or for insomnia rooted in a serious mood disorder. If your sleep disruption is severe, long-standing, and significantly affecting your daytime function, please see a physician. These methods are a powerful complement to good care, not a replacement for it. But for the vast majority of adults over 50 who simply experience the quiet erosion of sleep quality that comes with age, the lighter sleep, the earlier waking, the difficulty returning to rest once disturbed, garlic may be exactly the tool that has been missing. Not because it is exotic or complicated, but because it works precisely where the problem lives, in the nervous system, in the inflammatory state of the body, in the hormonal rhythms that govern the most restorative hours of the night. Tonight, I want you to try one of these methods. Start with whichever one feels most approachable. If the pillow method sounds interesting, prepare your cloth bundle before bed. If the foot soak sounds like something your body needs, fill that basin before you brush your teeth. If the warm milk preparation appeals to you, gather your ingredients now so they are ready when evening comes. Pay attention to how you feel in the morning. Not just whether you slept, but how you slept. Did you wake during the night? Did you wake before your alarm? Did you feel, when you opened your eyes, like you had been somewhere deep? That quality, that sense of having genuinely rested, is what we are working toward. And for many of you, it has been a long time since you felt it. If this video has given you something useful, I ask one favor. Leave a comment below and tell me which method you are going to try tonight. Tell me how long it has been since you truly slept through the night. I read every comment, and your stories matter, both to me and to the thousands of other people who will read them and find hope in knowing they are not alone. Share this video with someone in your life who needs better sleep. Sometimes a single piece of information, shared at the right moment, can change the entire quality of a person's life. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and turn on the notification bell. Every week I will bring you another method, another piece of real science rooted in the wisdom of traditional medicine, designed to help you live longer, feel better, and sleep deeper. I am Dr. Reed Cross, and I will see you in the next video.